Hey friends, I'm coming to you with lesson 34 in Wit and Wisdom. So let's get started. First off, I want to display the map on the inside front cover of the Glass Slipper Gold Sandal. So I'm going to turn my screen off behind me so you can actually see it. All right. And what we're going to do is we are going to look at the map on the inside of this cover, and we're going to think about what places or countries on the map have we visited through reading our Cinderella stories. Do you remember? Well, we've been to Mexico. We'd have Appalachia. We've also been over here to France, Korea. Can you think of any others that we've been to? We have visited some of these other countries in this book as well. So we've touched on all of these places like Germany and Poland and Zimbabwe, India, Indonesia, Japan, Iran, Russia. They're all in this book, okay? All right, so let's get back to our board up here. Okay. Move our screen. Okay, our essential question is, why do people around the world admire Cinderella? Our content framing is, how do all the Module 4 texts build my knowledge? So what do we do when we compare something? Well, you look and see how it's alike, right? Or sometimes you look to see how they're different. Well, today we are going to look for similarities and differences. We use Glass Slipper Gold Sandal again, okay? And I am going to read it to you, and we're going to listen to it carefully, okay? Because there's a question I'm going to ask about this book. So there's the front, Glass Slipper Gold Sandal, a worldwide Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a wealthy merchant whose wife had died. They had one daughter, gentle-eyed and good-hearted. Down the road lived a widow with two daughters. The woman gave the girl treats when she passed, pan dulce to eat, sugar cane to chew. All knew that her father was lonely. You should marry the widow, she told him. She's nice to me. The father had his doubts, but the girl kept asking, and how long can a father say no to his daughter? And so he and the widow were married. But no sooner had the stepmother moved in than she began to order the girl about. All day long, she set her to weeding the rice fields and cooking and carrying. The woman gave the girl's room to her own lazy daughters, and at night the girl had nowhere to sleep but curled for warmth among the ashes on the hearth. Her stepmother allowed her only a few scraps of food. Her stomach howled. The girl recalled how she had begged her father to marry. I picked up the scorpion with my own hand, she told herself. She vowed not to complain to her father and upset him. But when the girl was out tending to the cattle, the beast heard her crying for hunger. Don't weep, said one of the cows, and the animal took honey from its horn. And a fairy gave her figs and apricots, and Godfather Snake gave her rice. Once she was eating well and proper, the girl bloomed into a right rare beauty. The stepmother couldn't fathom it, and meanwhile her own sour-faced daughters would curdle the milk if they looked at it twice. One day it was announced far and wide that the great king was in search of a queen. All the unmarried women dressed in their finest robes and set off for the palace. To make sure the girl couldn't go, the stepmother threw an apron full of lentils into the ashes and ordered her to pick them all out. And scour all the kitchen pots too, she hollered. As soon as the stepmother left with her daughters, the girl burst into tears. Outside, the sparrows heard her. In they flew and pecked the lentils from the ashes. Then a witch woman came in and spoke a spell, and up jumped the pots and scoured themselves. The girl was free to go, but she had nothing to wear except rags. Then she looked in her mother's sewing basket, and then she reached into a hole in the birch tree. Then a crocodile swam up to the surface, and in its mouth was a sarong made of gold, a cloak sewn of kingfisher feathers, a kimono red as sunset. And on the girl's feet appeared a pair of glass slippers, diamond anklets, sandals of gold. Walk to the ball, said the girl's auntie. Never. She picked a big round breadfruit from the tree and tapped it 3 times with her wand. Quick as the blink of a firefly, that breadfruit changed itself into a coach. When she made her entrance, so great was her beauty that the musicians stopped playing. No one, not even her stepmother, knew who the beautiful stranger was. All night the girl danced with the headman's son until the first rooster crowed. Then she remembered she had to leave at once. She leaped onto her mare's golden saddle. Who are you? Called the prince. The girl had no time for words and charged down the lane. The prince sprinted beside her, got a hand on her shoe, and the dainty thing pulled off in his fingers as she galloped away. The king declared he would marry the golden shoe's owner. He ordered the women of the court to try it on, but none could squeeze inside it, and so he went searching for its owner up and down mountains and across the deserts until he came to the stepmother's house. When she saw him approach, she grabbed her, wrapped her in a mat, and hid her. I'm certain the shoe will fit one of my fine favored girls, said the woman, grunting and sweating. Her older daughter tried to wrestle the shoe on, but couldn't. Neither could be the younger. Just then a rooster began to crow, put the ugly one on show, and hid the beauty down below. The girl was brought forward. Don't waste your time with that one, said the stepmother. But the magistrate looked into the girl's eyes, took the straw sandal in his hand, and slipped it onto her foot with ease. She and the great king were married at the palace, where the guests feasted on mangoes and melons, rice seasoned with almonds, beef stew and lamb stew, yeast cookies and custards. Such a wedding it was, and such an adoring couple, and such a wondrous turn of events. People today are still telling the story. Okay, so let's get back up here to our screen. Okay, so let me move so you guys can see. What was the same and what was different about this story and the rest of the stories in this module? Think about that. Well, the stepmother was mean in glass slipper, gold sandal, and the stepmothers were mean in the other Cinderella stories too, right? Glass slipper, gold sandal showed a woman reading to a girl. The other stories didn't show that. The fairy godmother in Cinderella and a Tokabias in the Korean Cinderella, but in Glass Slipper Gold Sandal, they talked about a godfather snake. Now, I've heard some of the same details, like the breadfruit being turned into a witch, like in Cinderella. Okay, so now that's how we were comparing the Cinderella stories. Let's talk about what was different about the first time when we heard this story to when you heard it today. Well, I know the first time I heard it, I thought it was about the same characters, but this time I realized it was parts from different stories. I heard more familiar things this time. The first time, the only thing I heard about before was a glass slipper. Okay. Let's move on. Well, we are not doing our Socratic circle because you're going to do it with me. And it says, reflect on module and Cinderella stories. I know I really enjoyed talking about these Cinderella stories and I enjoyed reading them. And I hope you enjoyed listening to them, learning all the different versions of Cinderella. We have a fluency homework check-in. It is in your classroom. Also have a vocabulary assessment today for our deep dive. So let me turn that off up here. Let me get that brought up. So hold on a second. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you. All right, so you remember these vocabulary assessments. Let me get to my questions. Okay. And remember, you just mark the yes or no answer. All right. So make sure you do the example that says apple. That question is, can an apple feel sad? Can an apple feel sad? Mark yes or no. Number 1, exclaim. Can a couch exclaim something? Can a couch exclaim something? Number 2, sway. Sway. Can a branch sway? Can a branch sway? Number 3, gather. Gather. Can you gather supplies? Can you gather supplies? Number 4, grumble. Grumble. Do you grumble when you are upset? Do you grumble when you are upset? Number 5, deserve. Deserve. Do you deserve a reward for doing chores? Do you deserve a reward for doing chores? Deserve. Number 6, scold. Scold. Can your mom scold you? Can your mom scold you? Number 7, perch. Perch. Could a rock perch on a fence? Could a rock perch on a fence? Number 8, scold. Scold. Can a pencil scold you? Can a pencil scold you? Number 9, exclaim. Exclaim. Can you exclaim something? Can you exclaim something? Number 10, grumble. Grumble. Can a bird grumble? Grumble. Can a bird grumble? Number 11, sway, sway. Can a rock sway? Can a rock sway? Number 12, gather, gather. Can you gather a building? Can you gather a building? Number 13, deserve, deserve. Do you deserve more cookies than your friend? Do you deserve more cookies than your friend? Number 14, perch, perch. Can a bird perch on a fence? Can a bird perch on a fence? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. All right, guys, that is the end of this lesson. So I will see you back here tomorrow. Bye, friends.